I've told you guys previously that I've had this internal knowing, especially of recent time, that like my life's about to like change a lot, but like I'm about to be blessed a lot, and that I've put in all the work, and that I've planted all the seeds, and that like I've learned the lessons and I've done the things, and now I'm just gonna be blessed, right? And I and God's like almost forcing me to rest, and He's been asking me to rest, but also promising me that these blessings are coming along. And I've realized one of the last kind of hurdles that there is for me to overcome is being attached to that idea, right? Because yes, I have this internal knowing that all these blessings, and I'm right around the corner from changing. Like I'm like ready to receive all these things. Like I keep telling God, like I'm ready to receive, but there's still one more issue, which is like, I, 80 or no, let's say like 80 or 90% of me I have renewed, or I have, healed. And there's like the majority of me, the large majority of me is in this space where I don't need the constant validation. Like I have a certainty, and it goes beyond faith. Like there's this thing beyond faith where it's just you just know. It's a knowing, and I have a knowing. Um, but there's still this 5 to 10% of me that is still this version of me, this younger version of me, this kid that feels very undeserving and feels very unworthy. And it's like, oh, why would good things happen to me? Why would this be me? Or is very doubtful, or is like believes that this is all just a delusion that I'm having. And so sometimes I'm still letting that 5 to 10% take control of the car, take control of my vessel. And when that happens, I get like I'm essentially repulsing the blessing, because this part of me is vibrating in a way of is vibrating from a place of lack. And also, it's like, I remember one time my therapist told me, because when we first started, I would always ask her like, oh, I need to know, like I want to have an epiphany, give me an epiphany. And at some point she told me, she's like, dude, like at some point you have to tell the kid that enough is enough. Like she's like, you're in a position where your inner child, your kid wants candy and keeps wanting candy, and you give him candy, he just wants more candy, but you have to say enough is enough. She's like, it doesn't matter what epiphany I give you. Even if you have a great epiphany today, you're gonna come back next week wanting another one. Or if you in 10 minutes you're like, oh, give me something else, because it's just a hit. It's just this like this hit. And so she extrapolated that to in my relationship with God, where it's God can make it so incredibly obvious to. Sorry, my hair is all fucked up. It can make it so incredibly obvious to me, and yet I want something else. I want something else. I want another validation, another proof, another thing, another thing. And I talked to my very religious friend about this, and I asked her to pray for me from time to time, or when I have like more of these spiritual questions, I go and talk to her. And she told me, like, because I always talked about testimony, like, oh, I want testimony. Like when I hear people's testimony, they talk about like literally an encounter with God, and I've never really had that. Um, and she told me, she's like, yeah, she's like, but your life is more of like these like small moments, these fragmented moments that build up, the constant like moments of God like showing up in your life. Dun, 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 dun. Like that's your testimony. Your testimony is like these fragmented, these little bits by bits. She's like, I have people that I know that have that testimony of like of they felt the God presence, or they had an encounter with God, and they went right back to doing the bullshit, because it's like she was saying, like, for those people it's not enough. And she's like, maybe like it would be like for that for you. That's why God doesn't like is not going to present himself in that way to you, because it doesn't matter, because he'll present himself in the most obvious way to you, and then you'll be like, okay, we'll do it again. I don't know if that was real. We'll do it again. We'll do it again. And in that way, I'm having that line of thinking with my success, where like I know that 90% of me knows that I've done all the work, and that I must stay detached from like I know that I am nearing this future version of me, which will just be the present version of me, but nearing this version of me that has all the things I want, the spiritual relationships, the confidence, and then the things, right? And I know I'm right there. Like I know I'm coming close to that, and I should but I become attached to the when and the how, and like, oh, I need to change this, now I need to do this, and then it's like, oh wait, God, am I actually here? Wait, maybe I'm getting the wrong message. And then I keep asking for more and more validation, and I'm getting attached, and almost need the thing to happen faster than it does, which makes it happen slower than it's gonna happen, because I'm like almost suffocating it, right? Rather than just getting that validation or the sign. That's I'm like, dude, it's been within these last 2 months. It's been the most obvious shit you've ever. I'm not gonna really go into detail, but it's been the most obvious. Like it's so obvious. It's like it's almost like dude, like God literally put like a fucking neon light sign like right in front of you, and then you look at it, and you're like, I don't know if that's right enough, right? Like that type of stuff. And so I realized that my last kind of lesson to learn is that there is this child within me. There's this last 5 to 10% that has this deep, um, like low self worth that's always needed this validation, but like infinite validation because they will never believe what the person is saying that if they have this version of me that's like, oh, I love you. It's like, okay, we'll say it again in like 2 seconds. We'll say it again in 2 seconds. Say it again in 2 seconds, because it never believes that it's lovable, right? And because of that, there's this insatiable appetite for and need for validation, for constant validation. And that's the last part. Like this is I have to be aware, just like I was talking about yesterday, that the devil can't prosper when you're aware of his moves, right? And it's same thing. I have to be aware. I have to stay grounded in this 90% of me. That's why God's asked me to rest too. I need to stay rested and stay still in this. So when I see that kid arise, and that temptation and the need for candy, I can be like, I can be the one that validates that kid. They don't need validation for externally. It's just like, hey, like, no, we're good. Like, trust us, we're good. Like, I got it handled. You don't got to worry about anything. And almost rock the kid to sleep. Pacify them. Be like, yo, we're good. I got it handled. Until that 5 to 10% finally like understands we're good and let's go, and then it'll be okay, right? I don't know if any of this is making sense, but that's essentially what I'm trying to say is like, there's just this last little bit of me that's still in the old, right? That's still in the old. Like, I was thinking about heaven, hell, and purgatory today, and I was on my walk, and I think that they're almost like, I think of them as more like states of being, where hell is like this place where you're stuck in the generational curses and the generational trauma, and you're in addiction and you're depression and you're abusive and you're narcissistic, and like all you're doing self-destructive behaviors, and you're in all the bad habits, you're doing all the bad things. And then purgatory, I feel like is just self-awareness, where you're in this, because self-awareness is the first step to change, but the self-awareness is like the biggest trough, because you'll get stuck there for the longest time, because it's really like, that's the hard part, is like the first step, the hard is self-awareness, because you're like, oh, I'm doing the thing, like let's say you have like there's been times where like I'm like catching myself like, oh my God, I'm being my dad right now, and I'm like feeling this anger, right? I'm feeling so much anger, and I'm like, but I can't stop myself. Like, I still then lash out at like Julian, or I'm still like an asshole, right? Because the first step was the awareness. The second step is the hard part, is the behavior change, right? And so for a while, you'll just be stuck in the awareness where it's just like, oh, I know I'm doing this behavior because of X, Y, and Z. Oh, I'm doing it right now. Oh, I'm catching myself in the moment doing this thing, but I can't change it. And oh, this came from when I'm doing this because when I was a child, X, Y, and Z happened, which would made me view the world in this way, made me have this certain identity. So this is why it's happening. And all that is incredibly helpful. You need to have that awareness, but it's purgatory, because now you're stuck between the two things. You're stuck knowing how to do knowing like what you're doing, but still doing the fucked up shit, right? And then the final, I think, moving towards heaven is like actually doing the behavior change and moving toward that Christ consciousness. But it's not like this like linear path. Obviously, sometimes you're walking towards Christ consciousness, and then something really bad happens, and you fall back, and you go back into hell, and you start hit rock bottom, or you go back to engaging in your old patterns of behavior, right? And you're going. Duh-duh-duh. So I feel like a 90% of me is nearing kind of this Christ consciousness, like almost on this path. And then there's this last 5 to 10%, which is like stuck in the hell, stuck in this low self-worth, stuck in self-destruction, stuck in and feeling like, why would success come to me? Like, why would this happen to me? Why would it be me, right? And like all that type of stuff. And it's about this 90%, helping this last 5 to 10%, move towards over here, right? But through self-awareness, through the center, through the self-awareness, be like, this 90% is like self-aware enough to be like, oh, I'm engaging in this right now. There's this part of me is here, and validating that part so then they can come over here, right? I don't know if that makes sense. But yeah, I'm just gonna keep pushing. Like, I don't have to worry about my success because it's already been promised. Like, it's already been promised to me. I don't have to worry about anything. I just keep creating, and I just keep posting, and I keep trading, and I keep building my company, and I keep going to work, and I keep like being with Julianne, and I keep going and doing stuff, and I keep cooking, and I don't. There's nothing to change. There's nothing I have to do. You know, it's almost like you see a lot of people, they finally hit success and they change everything, because then they try to replicate that success, but they only got success because they were just being themselves, and they didn't have to change anything, and then they fall into a path. You mustn't change, right? It happened because you were doing what you were supposed to be doing. Just and I think like that's what, once again, why God's asking me, why He's almost forced me to rest, and like really rest, and also it's not just about me not going to the gym anymore. It's about like allowing myself to really, like I haven't been getting good sleep. You know, I stayed up all night because of this rumination, because of the validation thing, and I was stuck ruminating over this, ruminating over the validation of like, am I doing the right thing? Like when am I going to be successful? Like all that type of shit, right? I stayed up late, and like, you know, allowing myself, like I worked all day and then getting home and like allowing myself to take a nap and not feeling bad for it, like something like that, like allowing my body to rest, you know, drinking a lot of water, even doing something like doing my laundry, just doing a lot of self-care stuff, right? And focusing on me, and putting myself in a position where I can receive, where I can be still enough to receive, because I keep asking God and my angels, I'm like, you know, hey, prepare me, like prepare me for this blessing. Like I want to be, prepare me emotionally, spiritually, everything for this blessing you're about to bless me with. Just have me prepared, you know, because you know, something told me to read Deuteronomy 8. Once again, dude, I don't want to keep saying this, but I'm not like a religious person. It's just like that is like it's a convenient religious text to read. Like if I read the Quran, it would be, if I was born in the Middle East, I'll be reading the Quran, bro. If I was born in Malaysia, I'll be reading the Quran right now. Okay. Like I'm not saying that, right? It's just the rules. But in Deuteronomy 8, it talks a lot about, you know, when you're essentially like when you're blessed with all these things, like don't forget about me. Don't forget about who gave you the blessing. Like don't idolize the blessing over the person that gave it to you, right? And I want to be in that. I want to be still enough where it's like when all the things finally do happen that were promised to me, and that I knew were gonna happen for years, that I've known was gonna happen since I was a child, and all the success comes and all these things. And even now, like all the success that I've already had in a lot of ways, and my dog, and all these blessings I've already received, I don't get caught up in like idolizing those things more than idolizing, like, and just being grateful to God, right? And I think that that's what's gonna, like, when all these blessings come, there's gonna be excitement, but there's also gonna be a little bit of relief, but also there's just gonna be, I mustn't just be like, oh my God, focus so much on the success. Like I just need to like turn around and be like, yeah, you did it. Like thank you so much, because I know it's gonna be more than I could ever expect. It's gonna be better than I could ever expect, and so I mustn't worry. I just should just keep my head down and keep pushing. Well, keep my head up, but you know what I'm saying? Like, don't get attached to the outcomes. Don't get attached to that whole thing of the success. Just keep doing what I'm doing, because it's already been promised to me. But guys, girls, gays, queers, the them's, there, and all. Everyone have a blast rush year. What day is it? Oh, Thursday. I'll see you guys on a beautiful Friday.